Yes, Manuel, thank you for having me. Coming from you from Houston, we're so blessed.
Yay.
Dodged a major bullet with the storm, and we're counting our blessings, and our hearts go out to the folks in Louisiana and parts of Texas that were hit. I see my colleague Senator Zaffarini on. It's good to be with her. Yes, I am one of the founding members of the Tejano Democrats. I was at that historic convention when, I don't know if Barrientos is on here anymore, but all hell broke loose and there was a major walkout and we started the Tejano Democrats. So yeah, I was about 3 years old at the time. But I miss the conventions. We know that this is a time we love to gather and we see each other, you know, every so often. But this isn't going to stop us from doing the work that we need to do. We're in a very good position as Latinos because we know that for the first time, we are the largest minority block of voters in a presidential election. And we have about 30% of eligible voters in the state of Texas. The Texas Democratic Party has a goal of registering 1 million voters before the election. I was on a panel a couple of weeks ago, Voto Latino. They are inching towards their goal of 500,000 new voters. So we know that with these new voters and the awful partisan and just outright lies that continue to spew out of the president's mouth are gonna fuel the fire to help us elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We know that our community has been targeted in his rhetoric from the day that he came down the escalators to announce his candidacy. From that moment, it has been nonstop. We have been the political piñata of the Trump administration, and now tenemos que sacar la chancla y así. Let's tell him, ¿sabes qué? You are fired. And we know that we have a lot of new voters, so it's important that we reach out to those voters because a lot of times as candidates, you know, we tend to just, you know, go to the same people that show up to the polls. We can't do that this time. We will have thousands of new voters that we have to reach out to, get to the polls. We know that this is going to be a very different election. There is no straight ticket voting. And there are some things that are being worked on right now to maybe people that are not in contested races, maybe move them to the end of the ballot. Some counties are doing that so that people don't lose interest and they go all the way down to the ballot. So we make sure we get our justice of the peace and our judicial candidates and of course our state legislature. Speaking of the state legislature, great things are happening with in the Texas House. We are so close to flipping it. Many of us were on a call this week with our counterparts in the House. And while we're not quite as far along in the Senate, but we're hopeful that we can pick up 1 seat in the state Senate. But watching and supporting our brothers and sisters in the House, we are only 9 seats away. And that will mean that we could have, for the first time, a Democratic speaker in a very, very long time, perhaps a female, perhaps a Latino as Speaker of the House. And that will bring a lot of change. That means we have a better shot when it comes to redistricting, of having a fair map that represents the true diversity of our state. It could mean possibly, finally, having a bill on Medicaid expansion. We have so many people, and a lot of them are nuestra gente that are uninsured because of the unwillingness for the leadership in this state to tackle Medicaid expansion. So I stand with you, my fellow Tejano Democrats, ready to beat this, this president of ours. And so glad and thank you for all the work that everyone on this screen is doing, and look forward to reconvening and celebrating. Maybe we'll reconvene in Washington at Biden's inauguration, where we know there will be millions and millions of people coming to watch history